the Heed Army podcast. It's been a strange week, to say the least. Tuesday went ahead very early. We all know what happened after that. Saturday, a battling performance, came back in the second half, and things looked exciting going into Tuesday. So we're going to go all into all of that. Of course, we'll be talking about Dan Jarvis's fantastic goal, and even Owen Bailey's was a decent one as well on Tuesday night. So we've got a lot to talk about there. The ladies, they're winning. They're back and they're doing really well. We had hoped to get one of the ladies players on. We had contacted Dion very late on, so it was hard for it to come on. But next week we're going to endeavour to get the management team on from Gates FC ladies, and that'd be really good to do. And say we want all your messages. It's fully interactive as ever. You can do as, let's have a look, as Charles Waffer's done his book. Good evening, boys. So thank you. So if you want to interact with us, we are broadcasting on Twitter as well tonight. We're sending it out on 3 different places: Twitter, Facebook, and on YouTube. So if you can subscribe, it would be fantastic if you can do it. And apologies for Monday night. We were going to originally broadcast then, but I had vertigo and just felt like absolute crap and still feel a little bit dizzy, but not as bad as this little man will be, because my wife knitted little Adam Campbell there. Look at him in his little Heed Army hat, and he's been a bad luck charm. So there's a read Adam Campbell's in the house going, what the hell happened? So yeah, but Mickey, you've got your hat. It's lovely and warm, isn't it?
It is lovely and warm. I would recommend it for anybody.
I would wear it in the house, but it's too cold. £8 each, or 2 for 5, 2 for 15 if you've got a loved one like Mickey has. The messages are flying in already. We've got a guest waiting in the wings. We'll be bringing her on very, very shortly. But David Tron, evening all. Meg Baker, but please just have made it. Yes, we're on. Oh, we've got
Meg. Missed you.
Yeah, Alty Till I Die. Good evening from Atlrincham. Thank you very much for joining us. And there we go. We've got hello lads, looking good. Well, do we ever not? I think there may be 1 or 2 comments that haven't been able to be posted here. People have tweeted. Oh, 1 second. Oh no, there's more posts. That's where it is. I'm getting confused in my old age. More people have sent messages. We're going to read them out later on, and we're going to play a quick advert from our sponsors. When we come back, we're going to dive into Tuesday's game with our guest, Erin Atlrincham fan, and say it's. I think it's going to be a good show. Well, just the phone going all over. How are you doing, Erin? Are you all right?
Yeah, you. I'm not doing too badly. How are you guys?
Oh, not too bad. You're on the ship.
Yeah, I couldn't sort out where to put my phone. It's kind of falling over. Hang on, that's better.
It's high tide in Atlrincham. We didn't know. Thank you for joining us. Of course, we've had a few battles over the last couple of seasons. Of course, in the FA Cup last year, and that's going to be renewed this year. But so you went full time this season. It hadn't been going well until Tuesday night, where you looked like superstars. It must have been a result that you were very happy with.
Yeah, I think obviously we're buzzing with that result. Obviously, we've only won those 2 games this season. So we won against Aldershot a couple of weeks ago. And then obviously Tuesday night, we went into the game off the back of a defeat against Notts County on the Saturday. And I think coming into that game, we looked pretty confident. From what I've seen of the highlights, we looked confident, and it looks like we scored a good few goals as well.
Yeah, well, to say this is where the goal happened. This is where Gateshead's game was fantastic for 3 minutes. Good build-up play from the lads. I went a little bit silent because I thought the ball wasn't going to get across, and there was Owen Bailey to slot it home on the stride. It was a lovely goal. Nice to see him score. And for about 5 minutes after that, the Atlrincham defence looked a bit shaky. Cooper and Malarkey were at 6s and 7s, but then, unfortunately for us, Paul Blackett had to go off injured, and to be honest, life was made a little bit easier for them after that. They weren't pressed as hard. And the night was Altrinham's, of course. And we've seen, the first goal, there was a lot of people questioning whether it was offside. There was a screenshot showing that it was a good 1.5 foot onside, but in real time, it did look like it was quite a way off. But no doubt, there was no doubt goal, though, from Dinanga. It was an absolute rocket. It was a beautiful goal.
I think I've seen Denanga's finish. It was a cracking finish from about 20 yards out. I think that's his first or second of this. I think that's the second of the season. So I think it'll be good for him to get a couple of goals to boost his confidence, I think.
Well, as I say, once he's got the goal, that's when obviously the tides changed a little bit, and once you got the second, you were flying. But as I say, Denanga very well known at this level, and I think if he carries on like that, you're going to have a hell of a player on your hands. But that's where the people thought he was offside. He wasn't. With just the angle of the camera didn't, and people in the stand thought he was off, but he was on. So,
he wasn't.
I'm telling you,
I'm not bitter.
Not bitter. When you see that screenshot, see here, he's on.
I know he was onside. I'm just bitter. There is a movement.
I mean, he's some hell of a player, Chris Clark. We've got on loan from Fleetwood. I mean, he was on loan to us last season, but he got injured in his second game because he got quite a serious injury at King's Lynn, so that cut it short. And we've seen the best of his ability, but from the angle of the camera, I can't really tell if it was on or offside there.
I think in real time it looked like it was a miles off, but on one of the screenshots I seen that someone put he was onside. So, but
I still think he was offside.
Yeah, well, you got the 3 points, Mickey. It doesn't matter.
You would have got beat 2-1 instead of 3-1.
Yeah. As if people are sending the messages, thank you very much. You've got any messages for Erin as well. Last season seen us have 2 FA Cup games as well. You just came back from the dead in that one to come back to 2-2, and then obviously the night was ours down at your place. Were you at either of those games last year?
I was at the home game, so I was at the return fixture at our place where you beat us 3-2 in extra time. And that was when the majority of our ground was shut off, so us Alty fans were all packed into one end. I was for that one, but I was listening to the first game, so obviously the game that we drew 2-2, and I think I must have screamed the house down when Jake Moult scored.
I just went deadly silent on the microphone for that one. It was a bit of a hard one to take, but we renewed that.
For wasting our time.
Yeah,
we wasted that much time, and the referee put it on, and we got punished for wasting our own time.
Here you go. Here's the goal. Absolute rocket.
Straight that,
yeah, absolute rocket.
No saving them.
There isn't. I think Dan Langley's still flying through the air like Buck Rogers. That's one for the kids. But yeah, he's have a Google who Buck Rogers is, and you'll see who I mean. But I mean, obviously we've got this FA Cup game coming again. Yeah, I'm expecting a different game in the FA Cup game. Of course, Gateshead will have something to prove, and Atlrincham as well, because you missed out on that game with Charlton last year, and potentially a big game could be in the offing for the winners of this game as well.
Yeah, I think obviously it's going to be a completely different game to what it was last year. I mean, when you scored in extra time at Altringham's ground, I was just walking around to go back to my granddad because we were doing grounds work that day, and I think I just remember going deadly silent for for that last 5 minutes, and then I had to walk in front of all the Gateshead fans to collect the corner flags. And they're all going bananas in one end, and then there's just our fans who are all walking out deathly silent. But I think we're all expecting to be a different game.
I was going bananas in the way end, I must admit.
Yeah.
I tell you what, Dan Mooney is still hated here.
Dan Mooney, I don't remember that. He's my favourite player when he was at Alty, but if I remember correctly, he ran straight up to your fans.
I can give with the V's.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Nicky, I think you missed seeing it. I just think he was waving with not all his fingers. That's all it was. He just had.
He stood looking at when stuck 2 fingers right up at
I think I remember he wasn't very well liked by Gateshead fans after that.
Yeah.
No, not at all. His inbox on Twitter must have went absolutely mental. We were all sending them pictures, and it was an incredible night. I mean, I stayed down there for the night, and I went in the pub just up the road.
Oh yeah.
Me and my girlfriend went in there, and we had gates of tops on, and they just looked at it, and they were just like, "Please go home."
I say that here when I see you in Gateshead.
Well, most people say, to be fair, even the girlfriend does.
But obviously, we mentioned before there, is the ground back fully open now? Has the council lifted the restrictions that were in place?
Yeah, the council's lifted the restrictions that were in place, so we've got the whole ground back to normal now. And since then, we've been having like really consistent crowd numbers. So we're getting like a consistent crowd number of about 2,000 nearly every game, which is really good for us as our first full-time season.
I was just about to say, especially if you're going full time, to have that support of the town around you is absolutely fantastic. I think Atlrincham was probably the second away ground I ever went to. I think Stalybridge was the first and Atlrincham was the second. So I always liked it down there. Never had a good result when I've been, so I think I'll stay away for the game.
But, I've been a few times, and every time I've went down there, actually, I've never seen we get beat. So that's why I'm keeping well away from the FA Cup tie.
Yeah. So obviously, I mean, the club is building, momentum. They're going full time. The crowds are up. Is any club at this level? I suppose the realistic aim is football league. Is there a set period of time where the club is maybe wanting to get close to maybe challenging?
I mean, I don't think there was ever a set sort of target for the Football League. I think as the announcement came in May time to say that we were going full time, Phil Parkinson said there's only so long that you can overachieve for. So I think maybe in the next sort of 10 years or so to get to the Football League, I think. But there's no sort of like set plan in place for that, I don't think.
Mm-hmm. But it's as I say, especially with the football landscape down that way, you're surrounded by clubs, massive clubs, as well as a lot of football league and big non-league clubs. How hard is it to attract players in that area? Where geographically for us, it's always been quite hard to attract players up to the northeast because it is out in the middle of nowhere, so to speak, in the footballing world. Has it been hard or easy for them to attract full-time players to Atlrincham?
Well, with the majority of full-time players, I think we must have lost a good 10 or 11 players last season. So we obviously lost Dan Mooney, the Magnificent Seven. So we lost quite a lot of National League experience. So you had like the likes of Jake Malt playing, Sean Densmore, who played for the club for over 12 years. And I think in terms of recruiting players, we've done well to recruit a lot of talent that have showed a lot of potential in the game. So you've got Liam Brockbank, and then you've obviously got players like Ben Pringle as well, who've been doing really well when he comes off the bench. Yeah. I think it's not really been as hard as we thought it would be to attract full-time players. And obviously we've got Toby Malarkey, who stayed at the end of the season. He was rumoured to be going to Chesterfield or Portsmouth, either one of the two. And I'm pretty sure he turned them both down and said he wanted to stay with us. So I think in terms of that, it's not been really quite as hard as we thought it would be to attract the players.
Yeah, I suppose. And also as well, I mean, I don't know how close Oldham is to you, but that must be quite a, good tie to have as well. That must generate a local interest for you.
Yeah, I think Oldham will be quite a big one because obviously Stockport went up last season. That was one of the biggest games we had. We normally get quite a large crowd for that. And Oldham's not too far from us. It's about maybe half an hour, 40 minutes-ish. So I think Oldham and Alty will be quite a good game, and both sets of fans will bring numbers away and at home.
Yeah. So do you play them?
New Year Day?
Yeah, New Year's Day, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Good money maker for each club. Then, if it's over the festive period, that's the question I was just about to ask. But yeah, so I mean, obviously you're an Atlrincham fan. How long have you been supporting the club?
Since 2015. So my first game was against Barnsley in the FA Cup, and from what I remember of that, there was a massive pitch invasion. Oh, wow. So I remember we beat Barnsley 1-0 because my favourite player scored on the day, and I've been travelling with my granddad since 2015.
Oh, spot on.
So it's not just because you were there.
No, I mean, I've been to a couple of FA Cup games. So I went to the Barnsley game. I've been to a number of the FA Cup games at home. I went to Portsmouth in 2019. That must have been like a 14-hour round trip. And I think we had 20 seconds off a replay, and they score from a corner in the last 20 seconds of added time. So
football's horrible, isn't it?
A little bit of heartbreak there, but I think since 2015 I've been supporting the club through everything. So obviously we went through a spell of 2 relegations and then worked our way back up into the National League, where I think we're doing quite well at the moment.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. It's great to see. Great to see that see young fans getting involved in non-league. It's what Gateshead's trying to do, and obviously Atlrincham are doing it the right way as well.
Yeah, and it's good to see another lass who plays football.
Yeah, I know. To see what we're talking to you just before we came on air. So who do you play for at the minute again?
Sale United.
Sale United. So, and what level are they at in the pyramid in your neck of the woods?
So we're playing at the top division in the South Manchester Junior Girls League. So we're currently in the top division playing against Atlrincham at some point this season, and we're playing against some of the big teams like Macclesfield and people like that.
Fantastic. So
Fantastic. See, if you come to uni at Newcastle, give it a shout. Gated ladies. We're not shy of taking people who are good footballers.
There's Mickey. Mickey the talent scout.
I play as a striker or a right winger normally.
Yeah, oh, he's thinking, who are you going to replace, Mickey? Who are you going to replace?
I'm going to write that name, Dune.
Going back to what you said before with the North East being part of the footballing world, I think a lot of my favourite women's players come from the North East.
Yeah.
So my favourite player at the moment is Lucy Bronze. She obviously played for Sunderland, and then I like Jordan Nobbs as well. She played for Sunderland.
Yeah.
So you've got a lot of footballing talent there.
Just while we're on, friend of the podcast and also helps out with commentary, Charlotte Potts. Congratulations to her, former Sunderland ladies player. She's saying for Newcastle United ladies, of course, and I've just announced today they're going to be playing at St James's Park in November as well. So they're getting a real big push across the river. And Charlotte, Gated girl, will be part of that. So we'll be able to keep an interested eye on how Charlotte's doing over there. So congratulations to her.
Did you see that Newcastle ladies last year, 22,000 watching them at St James's?
Love that.
Unbelievable.
It's really good. And then I was lucky enough to watch. Well, I've been lucky enough to see the growth of the women's game in a way. And I think with teams like Newcastle ladies playing at St James's Park, I think it'll be a really good push. Definitely.
And of course, not too far away from yourself, the Manchester City ladies, who seem to be really forging the way forward. I'd say, Mickey, I don't know if you've been down to the Etihad. I've been down there, not for football.
I've been there at campus, yeah.
Yeah, I've been
impressive. Very, very impressive.
That must be something great to have on your doorstep, to know that, if you're good enough, then there's going to be something there for you to move forward to into the future.
Yeah, I think definitely. I want to work in sports journalism when I'm older, and I think having also Atlrincham women's, I go to watch them every home game, sometimes a few away games when I'm not playing football. Yeah. But I think with City ladies also on my doorstep as well, I think it'd be a great opportunity to see the women's game grow, and I can't wait to see how much it's going to grow in the next few years.
Definitely,
it went massive, especially with what happened in the summer.
Yeah,
how good was that? It was absolutely fantastic.
That was amazing. I mean, did you travel to any of the games for that one?
No, I didn't. I just watched them all on telly. But there's a lad who watches Gated, Carl Alfie. He's been watching England, the Lionesses, for a while, and he was over in France when they were playing.
Yeah,
wow.
He was at the one in Manchester and 2 at Brighton. So he got to see a lot of the European Championships games. I am so jealous.
Just shows you the is growing. Aaron, I'm going to ask you a favour. Might you be able to come on and join us in 2 weeks' time to preview the game when we're lock horns again in the FA Cup, and say we'll be able to preview that one, see how the teams are faring as we go into it. But I say, Aaron, thank you very much for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much for having me.
And
if you feel any aches and pains, it's me sticking pins in you because of Tuesday night.
I've got to say, you represent your club very, very well. You're a credit to your club, Aaron. So thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thanks for joining. Good luck with the football as well.
Thank you. Best of luck for the rest of the season.
Yes, you too. Bye. There we go, Erin. Fantastic to have her on there. Lovely, bright young lady that loves her football, and she's obviously not a bad player either, and hopes to want to get into journalism. And I say we spoke to a couple of young Luke from Halifax. I say there's some bright young talents out there in social media, isn't there? So it's lovely to see. And we've got a message there from Coco Savage, but hi. We've got Lucy Bronze was in the year above me at school. You could tell even then she was going to be the best. And Trina House, but good luck, Gated ladies, playing away at Gisborough Town on Sunday. Yes. So if you fancy, we'll get into a little bit of that later on. And we're just going to go to a quick advert. But Mickey, how warm is it in your Heat Army podcast hat on a match day?
Oh, I was sweating. I had to take it off.
It is a bit warm in the winter. Cost of living.
That's going to come in handy soon.
It is. Anyway, this is an advert for a hat. We'd also like to put out a missing persons report as well. Davy Steele, he had told us he was going to be on with us tonight.
Yeah.
I think
he's been abducted by a puffin or a seal.
I hope his boat hasn't sunk or something when he's been leaving the island. I feel awful.
Go dying, huh?
The crabs are nibbling at him and there's me griefing him.
Crabs are nibbling on him.
Well,
something you're not telling me.
I didn't mean it like that. Oh, thank God the children are off the show when we do them jokes. Right, moving forward, Greg Ollie has spoke to Gate FC TV in the aftermath of Tuesday and previewing the game tomorrow. So we're going to play this out. When we come back, we're going to talk about Gated FC ladies and anything you'd like to talk about the game on Tuesday as well. So when you're watching this, send in your messages. Remember, if you haven't already, like and subscribe. I know I say it all the time. If you listen to the audio version, why not come and join us? If you miss us live, you can rewatch the show and see the Erin who we were talking to. And likewise, if you want to listen to the show and you can't watch it, so you're driving, search everywhere you find podcasts for the Heat Army Podcast Live, and you'll be able to listen to it there. But now we're going to listen to what Greg Ollie had to say to Gated FC TV.
Greg, of course, frustrating evening all round, I suppose, on Tuesday against Atlrincham here. I suppose now you and the rest of the boys have had a little bit of time to reflect on it and digest it. How are you kind of feeling towards it at the minute?
Yeah, obviously we're just as disappointed as anyone. Obviously we started the game very well, go 1-0 up. And we just kind of came away from what was working. Obviously they scored two pretty quick goals. Whether it was dubious or not, it probably distracted us when it really shouldn't. And then we couldn't really get a foothold in the game after that for whatever reason. But it's gone now. We need to just regroup and refocus, get everyone back together. We're all fighting in the same direction, and Bromley's going to be just as tough a test.
Is it a bit more difficult at the minute trying to keep yourselves on a bit of a neutral playing field? Obviously, it's something Mike's talked about before, never getting too high and too low. Is it a bit more difficult at the minute keeping yourself in that middle ground when things sort of aren't going against you, and it's maybe a little easier for frustration to creep in at all?
Yeah, I mean, it is harder. But the last three games, we were unbeaten in the last three against some good teams. So the confidence was there going into the game, and I think you could tell from when we started. The way that we approached the game was good. But then again, you're just trying to find that neutral ground and stay in that same moment that you were before, and try and find that same consistency going into games, which is difficult coming off a very disappointing result. But we have to try and do that, and that's something that we're working towards. And we know that we're just going to have to work twice as hard.
Yeah, and you've mentioned before on social media about sticking together as a club, as a fan base, sort of everyone around the place in order to help things kind of push forward. I mean, how important is that? Obviously, after a rough result on Tuesday, but I suppose just in general all the time, really, as well.
Yeah, I think we all knew going into the season. That was what I tweeted out. We all knew coming into this league it was a highly competitive league, in which we'll take Aldi. They got promoted a couple of seasons before us. They've not set the league on a light for the last 2 seasons, but they've managed to find a way to stay in this league. So they're building something. Obviously, we weren't, after winning the league last year and stuff, we're all on this high, and we expect ourselves to now, as a club, to win every game. And I think it is a good thing, but we need to focus on just a game at a time, and we need to prepare for every game, because every game these clubs, with no disrespect to the National League North, these teams are very good teams who are pushing to break into League Two, the majority of them. So the players are better, the teams are better, and we need to be ready for that. And I'm sure as time goes by, I think hopefully we can put some good results together.
Yeah, and obviously as captain at the minute, obviously it was a young squad last season, still pretty much the same case this season. Obviously a few newer lads coming on loan recently as well, in which it's their sort of first taste of senior football. But do you still feel that kind of responsibility in terms of the same as last year, as being someone to try and sort of turn the mentality around before Saturday and not let anything kind of carry over from Tuesday into Saturday?
Yeah, it's one of them things. You just got to keep everyone fighting in the same direction, and I think we are. This group's just as good as it was last year. We've kept the majority, so we know how to handle these things. And obviously the new lads coming in, they'll have their first taste of results not going their way when they're fighting for 3 points. So I mean, as captain, it is that responsibility. So I suppose I've got to pull the boys round, and we'll just obviously go again on Saturday, and we'll train this week, and we'll get ready for it.
And in terms of Bromley on Saturday specifically, obviously one of the teams are flying high in the league at the minute, had a good result on Tuesday at Boreham Wood. But how are you feeling ahead of that? Obviously, I suppose not a huge amount of tougher games you could have at the minute in terms of the form, I suppose.
Yeah, obviously we know what Bromley are about. From when we were the last in the league, we went down there, and it was a tough game down there. So we know what we're expecting. But I generally feel like this year there's something in this league where anyone can beat anyone. Obviously the results, you can see that from different weeks. Teams are beating teams that probably necessarily shouldn't. So we know if we just prepare right, we've got every chance of going down there and getting 3 points. And
in terms of the ground and the pitch itself, I think another sort of artificial pitch, obviously you've played on one at Dorking a little bit earlier in the season, but for you as players, do you factor that into your thinking before a game? If we're playing on grass this week or playing on an artificial pitch, does it really change an awful lot for you?
No, not really, not for me. You just wear different boots, I suppose, that's it. But no, we prepare for every game the same, whether it's artificial or on grass, and if anything, I probably prefer playing on the 4G sometimes. But no, yeah, everything stays the same.
Well, there you go. That was Greg Ollie speaking to Jack McGragan for Gates FC TV. You can feel it in Greg. He's an honest person. He doesn't hate. He doesn't hate off the pitch. He doesn't hate on the pitch. No. And first to admit, things are hard. They're gonna have to work our way through it. And I didn't expect anything less. I mean, we put up a little motivational video yesterday with his tweets in there, and obviously it was mentioned in the interview. It's going to take hard work. None of us expected to come up into this league and be world beaters. There's a lot said on social media of people saying, well, if you hadn't have sold your 2 strikers, we've been through this time and time before again. All right. Well, I'll go through it one more time. I'll not do it again. If I do, Mickey can slap us in half time on the pitch. We are a small club. them players had, I'm not going to say outgrown the club, but they had reached the potential to be pursued by bigger clubs at our level and above. Both have went on and smashed it. It looks like Macaulay Langstaff could even move higher before the end of the season. If then we didn't allow them players to sign contracts that got us money with a release clause in, we would have lost them on a free. Now, that would have been the case. The same people that are arguing now saying, well, you sold the strikers. What would you have been saying if the club had let them go for free? Now, let that sink in. Let that sink in. The club made money on prospects. That's what we've always wanted, the club to be run right and run proper. And to be honest, it's just aggravating the small-mindedness of people. We get anonymous messages during the commentary sent to us by people hiding behind fake names on social media. Keep repeating, we shouldn't have sold Macaulay Langstaff. You couldn't do anything but the club got money from it.
In January, there was clubs lining up to talk to Macaulay Langstaff by all accounts.
Yeah. So let's, perspective.
And his agent would have told them, you've got all this interest.
Why sign a contract you can go for free and
Why
get a
sign
bigger
a contract?
Exactly.
Him and Ked signed new contracts yet, had release clauses in. You telling me their agents didn't say to them, well, get them release clause in. And if they put it too high, they didn't sign that.
Yeah, it's the way of the world.
By January, them two players were going to have an absolutely amazing season. No one could have forecast that.
Yeah. So
and if you just say, we couldn't say to them, well, we didn't want you to sign, because we would have just signed pre-contract elsewhere for now.
Yeah. Well, that's the way the club is, and I think there's
It's disappointing. Yes, but what can you do? I mean, Macaulay stepped up. He's got 15 goals already.
I know. Would you rather them leave and have an absolute belter? Like we've seen so many players in the past have left on a free and then get big moves and to get nothing. This way, potentially they get something. I don't know what's in the contract. That's not. Because someone was asking here, how did he do Gator sell on for Langstaff and Scott? Get a feeling Mac will get a big move soon. I don't know, and it's not for me to speculate about. But I do get sick of seeing people crying on still about the sale of two players that made the club money. And when can we say that the club made money on players?
Not only that, the goals between them and the performances got promoted.
Those players come in. Well, Kevin Scott, unproven at that level, went on, had a fantastic season, left the club a better player, left the club in a better place, and left giving the club more money in the bank. Macaulay Langstaff come back with something to prove. He certainly was never near that player when he left the club. When he came in, when he returned, he's worked very hard. That hard work has paid off. He's left the club in a better place. He's left a better player, and he's left the club financially better off. Is there ever a better transfer than that? Ever? Bar some stupid clause where you're getting back for free. It's not going to happen, is it? That is the best scenario a club of our size can do. Is you get a player in, they leave the club in a better position, they leave better, and the club gets money for them. And that's just how it is. That's
I'd love them to be here, but
of course. But I'm loving seeing them thrive and get all the media attention in the world, because what they're saying is now is that Macaulay Langstaff scoring all these goals did the same thing at Gateshead. Gateshead's getting mentioned as well. Free advertising. Just think about that. Think about where it all leads to. It all leads back to Gateshead. Right. On that note, we're going to go to Mr. Luke. He's put, hello, gents. Very disappointed with the performance on Tuesday. Hopefully we can turn it around with the win against Bromley. Of course, Bromley is going to be a tough one, and it's it's a long trip. It's a tough game, but the lads they've got something to prove. Gateshead nearly always bounce back under Mike Williamson, and I'm sure there'll be a definite improvement around the pitch. I think there'll be pride and ego will be hurt for a lot of players. But one thing I want to go to and apologise to Dan Jarvis. I haven't got his goal lined up. I've just remembered. I'm trying to download it to be able to get onto the show, because he came on with Camille Conter against Eastleigh last Saturday and made a world of difference. Conter freed up Bailey to get a bit further forward, and of course Dan Jarvis really opened up the opposition every time he got on the ball, and that lovely little dummy that he sold the defender and went along the dead ball line. Oh, I say it was lovely to watch, and of course his goal was something else. So if Dan's watching, apologies if he was hoping to see his goal and see it praised. I'm sure he's watched it a million times on YouTube already. But yeah, it's just apologies. I will get it on in some advert going forward. It deserves its moment on the podcast.
I spoke to Dan. Gates of Lasses played Rutherford ladies, and he says first chance he gets, if he's got a chance of a shot, he's shooting.
Mm-hmm.
When he picked that ball up against Eastleigh, I'm thinking, let's see if he backs himself.
Yeah. Oh, so it was perfection, wasn't it? It was
so
smooth.
What a strike. What a strike.
It was. And it's just a beaut. We'll get on to, we've got a message here from Cowdaly. I'm proud watching the two lads doing well in Notts County. There's no chance we would have kept them. The fact of life of being a club our size, and that's where it is. It's about existing. It's about, we're back at this level and selling players to the big boys. Think about it. 3-4 years.
I'd rather we didn't.
I'd rather we didn't. But about 3 years ago, come on, club with no assets, stripped and demoted. Okay, right, yeah, it's a bad thing that was sold them. Yeah, give your head a scratch. Right, it's
hey, everyone's entitled to their opinion at the end of the day.
There certainly are, but sometimes people need to be corrected. Josh, when I say that, I'm joking. Everyone is entitled to the opinion, but it's when people hide behind false names,
pseudonyms,
and send them in on commentary, hoping that you'll read them out. That's where I draw the line. If you've got an opinion, by all means say it, but say it with your face. You know, that's the thing, and then your opinion is valid. In my eyes, we've got one here, Charlotte. Feel for Greg watching that. You can see the players. Yeah, yeah, definitely. And as we mentioned there, Greg doesn't hide. It's been great seeing Dan Jarvis on the pitch. Yeah, I think there's more to come from him. We've only seen cameos, and one of them cameos was something else. Does anyone know if Luke Daly's loan finishes on Tuesday, after Tuesday or Saturday? I'm not sure.
Not sure, but that's been impressive since he's come in, mate.
He has. He's looked very good. Impressive. But then again, you've got 3 left backs, or 3 players that can play left back.
Well, I know that, but I'm just saying.
Obviously, we've got the longer loan of Gallagher until January or December, isn't it? On the
31st, isn't it?
Yeah, and then you've got Ethan Pye, of course, who's been played in centre defence due to the injuries to Kenton Richardson and Lewis Story. So yeah, it's one of them things. We've got to ride these injuries out. But look, if they all start to come back shortly, then the squad is a lot stronger. So we'll go forward from there. Love watching Dan. Welcome to Wretched. He totally telling it like it is. I haven't seen it yet. I know some people said he's.
I've seen the first 2. I haven't seen any more since then.
Oh no, I'll have to have a watch. I think he's a bit blunt. I think.
Right.
Reading between the lines, I think he tells it like it is. We've got a message here from Craig Hilton. We were unlucky on Tuesday night, weren't we? Be good to keep we have to keep the faith and go again against Bromley. We do. That's you kind of dwell on it. So you've got to learn. And as I said to Mark in commentary, that we know that they'll nitpick through those videos and look where they can improve, and they'll be pointing it out in meetings with the players. That it's not like Mike Bassett on the back of a pack of cigarettes. It's analysed. It's this they're professionally going through it, and they'll be doing the same now. Looking at Bromley, they'll be looking at Bromley's last game, seeing how they can make amends in that game.
I'm not gonna character assassinate here. I was disappointed with the game on Tuesday. Very disappointed.
Yeah.
There's certain things going on. with the team at the minute, which I think doesn't make sense. I'm sure there's a good reason for it, but I'm of the opinion that no one's above criticism. And I wonder why Ethan Pye is playing centre half when we've got a centre half on the bench. We've got a perfectly good forward, went down to Spennymoor on loan. Hopefully to get games and come back a better with reignited confidence. Hopefully,
You would hope. I mean,
yeah,
how you want loans to work out.
yeah. And I'm just looking at that and looking at what happened on Tuesday. I'm just being devil's advocate. I'm not character assassinating, but there is a few things that I'm a bit worried about.
Well, obviously, David Tron's performance was not acceptable. Our high standards have slipped recently badly. I spoke to Mickey this afternoon and we're talking, weren't we? And I kind of said that's probably the worst performance in 4 years, I would say. And that's quite a statement to make. I mean, people might have completely different opinions and they're entitled to that, of course. But I would say that is a rare blip from us. And considering that we've done very well in 3 seasons, got promoted, it's not a bad thing to say that's the first real bad performance in 4 years, considering what's went on at the club.
Home it is. Yeah.
At home, yeah. I can't speak for the Halifax game. I wasn't there, and the commentary didn't really tell you what was happening with the game. But yeah, I think just we'll put it in perspective, and hopefully 2-3 games.
I don't think we're too far away.
No, I think
it's not that far away from
if you win 2 league games, you fly up the table and things look a lot rosier and confidence is there. So let's just see what happens. I think getting on the lads' backs, I think the boos might just have that little thing that ignites the players to prove some people wrong, and I hope that's the way it works.
I'm looking at booing.
I'm not.
I didn't boo at half time. I didn't boo at full time. I just stood there and I still see it and applaud them off the pitch.
Mm-hmm.
But if, like I say, I don't want to go too far on the lads because none of them lads step onto that pitch wanting to play crap. Not one of them.
Not
and it'll have hurt their pride on Tuesday, and they will be hurting of it.
You could see it in the body language. When the full time
would have hurt even more. But I think would they needed it? I'm not sure about that, but
no, I don't think I don't think any player wants to hear boos. You know what I mean? It's the character of these lads.
They were so disappointing. Everyone was so disappointed and frustrated on Tuesday night.
But as I say,
get where the booing come from, so to speak.
We've mentioned it before. The character of the team that he's put together, they'll respond to that. They'll want to prove it wrong. That's the type of the honest players, and that's what we'll see an honest reply. I think.
The majority of them players do not hide, like I've already said.
Yeah, we're going to get on to the ladies later on, but obviously 2 games under the new manager. It's absolutely fantastic.
Start with that soon, Sam.
It is. What do you think of Tom Allen going on loan to Spennymoor? I was surprised. Injuries have hit. I think it was unfortunate because players got injured after we sent them, and you can't recall them on a 28-day loan, so they've got to see out that loan. I think it's been it's backfired on the loan with injuries, I think. But the lad's going to get goals. Hopefully they're turning the corner with they're going to be appointing a new manager, so he might come back with a new vigor. Hopefully, and the same for Elliot Forbes as well. Let's hope he gets some much needed match minutes under his belt. We have to appreciate that Mike has and a lot of his players have learnings as they are going along with this level. The main objective is to still be at this level next season. And I said that to you as well. It's a good point, but I said, look, we're 4 places off the relegation zone. Now, I look at every game as if the season ended now, would we be happy? And yes, I would, because we're outside the relegation zone, and it's about surviving. Yes, building the future and thrive, but let's get the club, just stay there and sustained. If it's selling players than bringing them in for a profit and selling them on. That's great. That helps to sustain this football club, whether it's financially or in the league. Because I tell you what, you can't. We know that if you aren't financially stable, you can't stay in this league. So it's a hand in hand process and bigger picture. That's all I'll say. I'm not going to talk any more about what I said before. But right, Mason. But once Martin be fully fit, it'll be a totally different team. If I'm honest. He does bring something different up front, with something that I think if you lost a Paul Blackett and you had to bring Aaron Martin on or had both of them together, it's a tenacious front line that's going to pester and make handfuls of themselves and also be clinical in the box. So I'm looking forward to that. And Aaron, when he was on, I've got another one about Aaron Martin. We're missing Aaron Martin for me. I had him on the commentary with me on Saturday. He said he should be back sometime this month. And I seen him going through an intense warm-up before the game on Tuesday night. And he doesn't look too far away. So hopefully we'll be seeing Aaron Martin back up front soon for Gateshead. And let's have a look. Yeah, we've got lots of messages coming in. Thank you very much, everybody. I understand the reaction from the fans on Tuesday. I get people aren't happy with losing, but most of the team got us promoted, and we have to be realistic and accept we'll lose more games than we win this season, and that is a valid point we made before a ball was kicked this season.
It is a valid point, Chris, to be fair.
It is
very valid.
Very, very. We've got there, as I said to you, Dave, I was processing photos with a heavy heart. Yeah, it affects you. I mean, we've been, I'm gonna say blessed. Oh, we have in a way. We've had winning
Been spoiled the last few seasons.
Oh yeah. In Gateshead terms, we've been spoiled because we don't win leagues. We don't go out there and you know we do now. By the way, that's not downplaying anything. We try and play attractive football and work it into the box. But in all of our lifetime as a Gateshead fan, this is the best. That it's and to have the football club back where it is, the way it is, how it's happened, to me, it makes us more prouder and love this football club more. The people that's doing it. So,
make 3 playoffs. Was it 3 playoffs?
It would have been if the two playoff
2 playoffs in a championship.
Yeah,
and people having a gun at Mike. But
yeah, it's look.
There's certain things that need to change, Dave. I'm not.
But he's a young manager, and tell me a manager that doesn't get it wrong. You know what I mean? Tell me a football player or goalkeeper, referee. That's why we love the game, because these things make it, go off in different directions. And if we didn't have that, we wouldn't be able to even do a show to talk about, because it would just be, we'll win again.
That's football, and this is podcast. This is what it's there for, really, to debate these type of things and get things off your chest.
It is. Get them things off your chest. Right. We've got there. We were also unlucky with injuries so far this season. As disappointed as I was on Tuesday, I was always get behind the team. Come on, the Heat. Yeah, and Sam is disappointed result on Tuesday. However, we have to get behind Mike and the lads, and we have to remain positive. There's still positives there. We're not in the relegation zone. If you look at that table,
still got plenty of games to go.
8 places off bottom. We're only just into October, man. Away. It's looking good. And talking about looking good, Mickey, the ladies are back and they're winning games.
Yeah, but before we go into the ladies, can we start the foundation first?
Yes, actually, yeah. I'll let you plug that, and then there's 2 other things I want to
get the foundation. I'll have to start the ODM engine up and get the tablet running.
Well, I'll quickly, when you get it, I'll quickly mention the other 2 things. Gateshead Foundation are doing things at the Bencham Community Centre. They're having a Halloween spooktacular, I think it is worded, on the 27th, Thursday, between 5:30 and 7:30, or 5 and 7.
Yeah.
We'll rectify that on the next one. And also they're doing free Pilates lessons as well down there under the Gateshead Foundation. So if you need to stretch it out, without a doubt, get down there.
What can you stretch you like? Ooh.
I've seen some videos, Mickey. I'll send you them after the show.
All right. Also, they've been chosen. Also, have been chosen for as the Foundation's Green Tokens. If you can go and vote, we'll get an extra 500 quid in that.
Oh, that's good.
And it's helped providing cookery lessons to young people who have recently been homed, to children as well, providing lunches for a number of vulnerable people across Gateshead. So, two really, really important things the foundation want to push. So, if you can please get there and vote on the Asda Foundation, please
Also,
do.
and I'll put a put a request out. If the foundation want to come on and push all of these things, please get in contact with us, and we'll arrange it to come on. That's what we want. Push it on that front, especially with Gated Ladies as well. We want to do that and get people on involved with that as well, and have their coverage as well, because they deserve it. They're back and they're winning games, and they're away on Sunday, aren't they, Mickey?
Sunday, Gisborough Town away. Dion's mum, Dawn, absolutely loves Gisborough. Because the last time we went down there, I think it was some cup, and the food kiosks were open, the bars were open. So Dawn was very merry when she come back.
Well, sure.
So if you want to come to Gander, yes, it's quite a journey. I can't praise the lasses enough, but I must say to Julia, a lass from Spennymoor, who went over and
I was going to ask you that because we had a message saying that you still shudders when you heard the crack.
Yeah, it was a nasty one for her, and I wish her a very, very speedy recovery. Yeah, the game had a little bit of needle in it. It wasn't a nasty tackle. And she went over. Charlie was on that side. I was on the opposite side, first away. Charlie told me it wasn't a nasty tackle. She went over badly on her ankle.
Yeah.
Broke it. The poor lass screamed. And I wish her the very best of luck. But to our lasses, it's come together well. There's a new player called Maddie Spear sent off. She was excellent as well. I mean, Jess Richardson got 2 goals. Mr. Penalty got out that Rick. She was my man of the match on the day. But Maddie pushed her close. But there's been some really good signings. Kelly, Charlotte. I keep getting. I think it's Molly, but I keep saying Holly. And there's hopefully there's a couple of more players to come. And the old guard over there, and they're playing really well. It was an absolute joy. And Colin Hugo, 2 wins out of 2, 3-2 and 4-3. That's as I said to him on
the entertainers
Sunday, the new entertainers, and he says I'd rather we weren't.
It'll be great by the end of the season.
But it's an absolute joy. I am so pleased for them lasses as well. And if you get a chance, you don't have to go every week. Would love you to go every week. But go down and lend your support to the lasses. They've been absolutely fantastic and they fully deserve it.
Well, let's hope Gateshead can do what Newcastle have done and give them a game at the home stadium at Gateshead.
That would be lovely.
That would be good. And I'm sure we could get a few hundred down there if you can get it, the gates open, the kiosks open, and make it an event, like what Newcastle are doing for the Newcastle ladies. And I think definitely. Well, if you want to send in your predictions for the Bromley game, please do send them in now. And of course, social media. How are you following? Are you subscribing? The Heat Army podcast needs your help. No, we don't need money. All we need is you to do one simple thing. It'll take less than a second. If you could hit that like button, the subscribe button, and share whatever post that we put up regarding Gateshead Football Club, it'll go a long way in helping the show build and ultimately helping us push the club to the moon. There we go. And Mickey, I'll tell you what, them Dixon's pies get better as well on a match day. I had the steak.
Oh, I didn't have I had a Balti one the last time.
Oh,
Actually, I tell a lie. It was Saturday. I had the Balti pie. On Tuesday, I was sitting eating a kebab in the car park. In the car.
Yeah. just sitting in the middle of the road, just eating a kebab in the rain.
Sitting in the car park, eating a kebab, and the chips and the falling all over the place. The pita bread was dropping all over. I had to shovel the car out before I went into the game. But I
Oh,
thoroughly enjoyed that. I was ready. I was starving, and I thought we'd have something a bit more substantial. I wish they'd eat chips at the ground.
well, if they're listening, they never know. They might take it on board. But
Bring the chicken and leek pies back.
I
Stop
know.
eating
There you go.
crazy.
There's a chicken and leek pie. Just a bit of pie porn. Oh, look at that, man.
Pie porn again.
Oh, look how moist it is. Right. On that note, get your predictions in. Come on for Bromley. Mickey, what are you saying for this weekend?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm gonna go 1-1.
Funny enough, my heart says 1-0.
I think we'll take the lead. I think we'll take the lead and succumb to a sucker punch later on. I hope I'm wrong. We've got some coming in here. We've got Kieran James has put oi oi boys.
Oh, Kieran, yeah, right.
We've got 2-2 David Tron. Mr. Luke, he's going 1-0 to Gateshead. I hope so. Taylor Howie, 1-0 to Gateshead. I'll take that as well. So if you want to get your predictions in as well. And also as well, if you do, on the next home game, it's the 22nd, isn't it, against Woking? Yeah, so Woking, if you do want a Heed Army podcast hat, there's got a few out. As we've seen them in the stands. There you can say because if you do want them, let us know because we'll make them to order more or less. So say we need to get the wool in to make them. So
there was a young lady asked if you took card the other day.
I don't know where I should swipe it, Mickey.
That's what Hemi said. He says if you swipe it, does his nose go red? Operation.
I was going to say some other things there, but I'm not going to. We will not because we've got an 11-year-old watching. My 11-year-old son Hugo says 1-1. Well, there we go. And Hugo would look good in a Heed on my podcast hat. £5 for kids. 2-0. Kieran James has went for the Heed there, and
Kieran.
Trina House.
Be a big cuddle if that's the truth. If that happens.
Trina's been on the cans of Red Bull. She's got 3-0 to Gateshead. So
Trina's thinking along the lines of they want to put the right off Saturday, Tuesday.
Well, as I say, just go out there and do her proud. I'm sure they will, and the results will come. They certainly will. As I say, if you're just joining us, we are coming towards the end of the show. Sorry?
Any word on Blackett's injury on today?
Haven't seen anything on social media about Paul Blackett's injury, but hopefully be back soon. Right, so if you're just joining us, you can watch us go back to the beginning once the broadcast ends, or if you are listening to the audio version, give us a try on here on YouTube and subscribe. It really does help. We're reaching far and wide, and we've had quite a few listens on the commentary as well from away fans, which is always nice. And also as well to our guest, I'll just get her handle up on Twitter if you'd like to follow our guest tonight. Her handle is Golf Roads Ghouls, all one word. Golf Road Ghouls. So there we go. That was Erin. She was a fantastic guest tonight. Credit to our club. And got some more. I like that, Mickey. Must be about swiping the card. 3-1.
You're asking a prediction.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this is my heart speaking. 2-1 to Gateshead. And the other prediction is Donald enjoy Sunday's game at Gisborne more than she has of any other so far this season.
Well, we'll see. We need photographic and video evidence, Mickey. We'll play it out next
time. Dan Bell's going to do one of his vlogs at the game, so we might get to see Dawn staggering around or hanging on to Jamie.
Well, I've heard she's staggering, but I didn't know it was drunk. Anyway, You go, Christ, you're staggering. She goes, am I? All right, we've got David Tron has put, anyone heard how bad Gallagher's injury was on Saturday? I haven't.
That's another thing that hasn't been
The one,
mentioned.
yeah. 2-1 to the Heat, says Jamie White, or Taylor Howie's put, I think we're just playing it safe when they took off Paul Blackett. There could be, because just the amount of injuries that we've had.
Yeah, maybe.
He didn't seem to be walking with any struggle after the game. Right, she will. So there we go.
Right, she will.
Be waving her bank card about.
She does, because it was, you could only spend, I think it was a $5, wasn't it?
Could be.
I think it was a $5 in the chat. Anybody want a drink?
Apparently, should be walking home now.
That's Amy who should be in the car with.
Right. Let's say fantastic show. Thank you, everyone. And also, as well, just to clarify, I wasn't when I said before about people's comments about Macaulay Langstaff and Kevin Scott, I wasn't saying anyone cannot have comments. What I was saying, the annoying thing was that people hide behind pseudonyms and criticize on the chat on the commentary. That's just the annoying thing. Everyone can say what they want as long as they put it in the right way on this podcast. They can say what they want, and as long as it's not libel and you put it in the right way, anything can be discussed. Sorry?
Constructive criticism.
That's how it's said.
No one is above criticism.
Oh, anyone want a drink? I'll pay for it. Haha. So
that was like a gift for last year.
You can get a skinful this year, then, Mickey. Drinks are on dawn. Well, we're gonna have to leave it there. We've had a fantastic show. Thank you very much, everybody, and apologies that we've had to cancel the last two to get us to the stage. But Mickey, life's a bugger, isn't it?
Trust me. Take it from someone who knows, and you do it too, Davey.
Yeah.
Football is the least of anybody's worries.
It certainly is. Right. On that note, I love you, Mickey, and I love all you viewers as well. And we're going to say goodbye, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.
Take care, everyone. Have a good weekend.
Definitely. And as I find the outro video, I'll get there. Don't worry. Bye.